What is your take on it? As I say, they're going down, but they're still elevated well above where they were before the pandemic.
David, it's good to join you again. And yes, this was a very encouraging report. We showed initial claims filings. That means people coming and asking to be qualified for unemployment benefits. We saw the number we reported today was 110,000 lower than the number that was reported out a week ago. It is the lowest number we've seen since March. And then you mentioned continuing claims. That's people whose claims have been approved and are now receiving benefits. We know now that in the month of September, 3 million people went off unemployment, which is quite encouraging about the direction of the recovery. And for the last week for which we have full data, we know that 1 million people just in that week came off unemployment. So the trajectory is strongly in the right direction. But as you say, these numbers are high. We need to continue to bring them down. We are bringing them down much more quickly than was being predicted back in April or even May. We've put back 11.4 million jobs through September. You know, in the last economic downturn during the financial crisis in the Obama administration, it took nearly 3 years to get unemployment under 8.5%. We've gotten it under 8.5% in just 4 months. So it's a strong recovery headed back to that strong economy that we had pre-COVID.
So, Mr. Secretary, I guess that question is, have we got a lot of the low-hanging fruit, if I can put it that way? And what I'm really asking is, we hear a lot of people now saying, okay, some of the jobs are coming back and have come back. There may be some jobs that never come back because we've had permanent changes to the employment structure. How is the Labor Department assessing that? Do you have any sense of how many jobs we may lose over the longer structural term? And what can we do about that?
Yeah, I do want to be clear, David, that this is not job completed. This is not a situation where we're looking at this, resting back and saying we've done what we needed to do. There still is important work to be done. I do think that there are a lot of encouraging signs about the job markets and the economy generally. We had a really good existing home sales number today, good retail sales numbers last week. And just one other interesting job market report we put out on Tuesday, the report regarding state unemployment rates. We know the national rate is 7.9%. We saw that a couple weeks ago, but now we know what it is in individual states. For a majority of states, it's 6.7% or lower. There are 3 states really stick out: California at 11%, and New York and Illinois at about 10%. Those are 3 of our 5 largest states. They're having a harder time for whatever reason bringing people back to work. The national picture looks better. I think that we will continue to put jobs back, David, but we do have to recognize that there are some sectors like conventions, I think to an extent airlines, that are going to take longer, although there was some good news coming out today as well about airline use. We had a couple airlines saying that passengers are coming back at a higher rate now, and the TSA numbers are picking up. So a lot of progress. Still more to be done, but I do think that we can continue this, especially given the progress that we're making with the vaccine as well. There's very good news on that front.
Mr. Secretary, I'd also like to address a larger issue as well, and it's under OSHA, it's Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and we've talked about it before. I know you think that you're doing what you need to do, but give us your sense overall, almost philosophically. I assume you agree there should be regulation of employers to ensure safety and health. You think maybe the balance has gotten out of kilter. Where is the proper balance? How do you think about that problem? How do you strike that balance?
I think we have the right balance now, David. First of all, OSHA, which is part of the Labor Department, has been communicating to workers and employers about COVID safety since all the way back in January. They've put out really voluminous guidance for different industries and the workers in those industries about the things to do safe and to stay safe. And then something that's changed since you and I have spoken about this before, David, is there's now concrete, publicly visible evidence of the fact that we are indeed going to bring cases where we find that employers are not taking appropriate steps to take their workers, to protect their workers. We've now brought nearly 100 citations against employers that did not take steps needed to protect their employers. their employees. We will continue to conduct inspections, continue to bring cases where we need to. And there were some that were saying 3-4 months ago, oh, OSHA's not coming to your workplace. It's not going to cite employers. I told you at the time they were wrong, and you're seeing it now. Investigations are being completed. Employers that aren't taking proper steps are being cited. But that said, I've been doing labor and employment work for nearly 30 years. I have never seen employers as focused on their workers' health and safety as they are now, because they know that if they don't keep them healthy and safe, that they risk having to shut down. They're concerned about customers too. So we are continuing to help all those employers that are trying to do the right thing. But we will, as I've said from the start, engage in enforcement against those who don't.